Previously, Ye Tian put an end to the Mo family's reign as one of the strongest families in Seafront Base. After the fight, Ye Tian quickly left the manor. Somewhere, Galewolf sat atop a building, anxiously waiting for Ye Tian's return. It appears that Ye Tian left Yi Yu in Galewolf's care as he infiltrated the Mo family residence. While thinking about it, he felt like he was some kind of babysitter for Ye Tian's little sister. While he was grumbling, Ye Tian arrived. The first thing he asked when he arrived was about his little sister, Yi Yu. Galewolf reassured him that she was okay and that she was just resting since she got hit by a tranquilizer. It seems like someone went for Yi Yu while Ye Tian was busy fighting those elders. Galewolf then asked Ye Tian about the Mo family. Ye Tian answered him, "The Mo family is no more," with words full of killing intent. An elite warrior's killing intent wasn't something to scoff at, especially for a mid-stage martial warrior like him. Galewolf then ushered Ye Tian inside the building where Yi Yu was temporarily taking refuge. With the Mo family's demise, Galewolf asked Ye Tian about his future plans. Ye Tian was thinking of getting Yi Yu's cultivation started. But since Yi Yu hasn't awakened yet, Ye Tian was thinking of ways to awaken her talent. Galewolf did not refute Ye Tian's plan, but for a normal person, one has to procure a ton of resources. As Ye Tian was an elite warrior, now with the combat strength of a great warrior, he can get money and resources easily. The only thing that was somewhat of a bother for Ye Tian was finding suitable and compatible training resources for Yi Yu's ice talent. As the both of them entered the building, Galewolf told Ye Tian where Yi Yu was resting. Ye Tian opened the door of a room and saw Yi Yu sleeping in a bed. He entered and called out to Yi Yu. She heard a familiar voice, and she opened her eyes to see Ye Tian sitting beside her. She quickly embraced him out of pure joy. She was worried that she would not see him again, and Ye Tian promised that he would always be by her side. The next day, the news of the Mo family's annihilation spread. People gathered outside the manor like swarming flies. Shortly, the Lin family's head, Lin Mingzi, with his trusted aide, arrived at the scene. Among the crowds, Xiao Yu and Yu Ling were also present. This was to be expected since the annihilation of the Mo family was no laughing matter. Lin Mingzi approached the dead body of Mo Zhongqing, the patriarch of the Mo family. Beside his corpse was a red ball that he used against Ye Tian. Ling Mingzi thought that it was the Mo family's secret weapon, their clan treasure, the Iron Pearl. His aide also knew how terrifying the Iron Pearl was since it was said that even a great warrior couldn't avoid the sudden attack at close range. But the assailant not only escaped the Iron Pearl but also killed Mo Zhongqing with one of its needles. This only shows that the person who attacked the Mo family that night was at the peak of the great warrior realm. But the seafront base was a small base. A great warrior at peak level was very eye-catching. Hence, they thought that the killer could be from the Iron Fang base. They inferred that the Iron Fang base used the Mo family to display their strength at seafront base. This speculation was backed up by information coming from a spy. The information said that near the Iron Fang base, there was a large monster boss that would soon evolve into a king-level boss. This will cause the destruction of the Iron Fang base if the evolution succeeds. The trade wasn't just a commercially used road, but it was suspected that in case the Iron Fang base got destroyed, they would use it as their emigration route towards seafront base. They will then overwhelm the existing powers in the seafront base, causing a split between new and old powers. With this, Lin Mingzi has decided to spearhead a plan to unite the remaining powers in seafront base and become their leader. After almost a month, Ye Tian, Galewolf, and Yi Yu were gathered outside Galewolf's house. Ye Tian has decided to go to the Thousand-Leaf Forest since it has something he wants. Probably a new talent to copy. His goal to become stronger doesn't end with the Mo family's annihilation. The situation at Iron Fang base has gotten worse, and they are sending more and more people to seafront base. The seafront base will be in turmoil due to the shift in power. Until then, he has to grow even stronger than he is right now. But Yi Yu was not okay with Ye Tian leaving again. Who knows when he will come back again? Ye Tian understood what was going through Yi Yu's mind right now and reassured her that he would be okay and that he would be back after he finished his business there. In the meantime, he reminded Yi Yu to take the elixirs he left for them and diligently cultivate them. Ye Tian then asked Galewolf to take good care of Yi Yu, which he accepted without hesitation since, for him, a brother's sister was also his sister. Suddenly, the quiet street became very loud as a group of riders in cars speeded up the road. There were small red flags on their cars with the mark of Iron Fang. This shocked Ye Tian. Why was there a convoy of people from the Iron Fang base going to the seafront base? Gale Wolf recognized the convoy, and it was from the Sun family. As the convoy passed by, Ye Tian inspected the one who was on a motorcycle and leading the convoy. His name was Sun Feng, and he has high-tier cultivation talent and mid-tier sword talent. This shocked Ye Tian. That stats was unexpectedly high. He must be a young master of the Sun family. Looking at the speeding group, a bad hunch struck Ye Tian. It seems like the situation in the Iron Fang base was worse than expected. Nevertheless, he has to go now. He quickly said his farewells to Yi Yu and Gale Wolf. Then, with his speed talent, he left the base once again for the Thousand-Leaf Forest. Not long after, Ye Tian arrived at the Thousand-Leaf Forest. It was funny because the tree was devoid of leaves, contrary to its name. Ye Tian found an information about a monster called Black Wolf Panther. Apparently, it possesses a high-tier speed talent which can help Ye Tian upgrade his current mid-tier speed talent. Suddenly, the forest was bombarded with a strong elemental force fluctuation. Ye Tian speculated that there must be monsters fighting nearby. He quickly dashed towards the origin of the force, and there he saw a ginormous ape fighting two wild cats. Ye Tian recognized the two golden-furred wild cats. It was a gold dragon panthers. They were rare mutant species of the black wolf panther which were much powerful than the latter. With them being more powerful than the black wolf variants, then it could only mean that their speed talent was at the apex tier. However, the ape's power was comparable to a great warrior at the peak level. The golden dragon panthers were just a mid-tier beast. Even with their apex tier speed talent, defeating the ape was very unlikely. Though, this does not matter to Ye Tian since he only came here for the talent. He was thinking of ways to copy the apex tier talent amid the intense battle. Suddenly, Ye Tian felt a lick behind him. When he turned around, he saw an infant golden dragon panther. Ye Tian was shocked to see a small golden dragon panther behind him as he did not feel it approached him. Out of nowhere, the infant panther emitted a light, and after that, Ye Tian heard a girl's voice saying that she was willing to offer her light spirit to sign a master-servant contract with Ye Tian. Confused, Ye Tian looked down to confirm his suspicion, and the small panther confirmed it. The reason why the small panther chose Ye Tian was that it felt a speed aura in him. Probably because Ye Tian has speed talent. Nevertheless, Ye Tian activated his skill and a system window popped up with the details about the infant golden dragon panther. It has an apex tier innate talent, apex tier speed talent, mid-tier endurance talent, and novice tier healing talent. While Ye Tian was inspecting the small panther, it called out to Ye Tian, begging him to save its parents from the ape. The small panther was Alsong begging Ye Tian to save its mom since it was pregnant. Ye Tian did not hesitate and agreed to the small panther's plea. He then stroked the head of the panther and named it Little Jin, also known as Shao Jin. Ye Tian then activated his Copycat skill, copying the apex tier speed talent. Since he already has the mid-tier speed talent, he chose to merge with the copied talent right there and then. Without any struggle, Ye Tian successfully merged with his new talent. A new system window popped up showing Ye Tian's current talent. His speed talent was now apex tier. Also, it was said before that the talent he copied from the mighty ant was a top-tier talent, and here we can say that a top-tier talent was a high-tier talent. Ye Tian then activated his speed talent, dashing toward the ape. Unlike the minotaur from before, this ape has no defense talent like that shield. Hence, Ye Tian went straight for its eyes. With its vision hindered, Ye Tian turned to Shao Jin's parents. However, Shao Jin's parents did not know Ye Tian, and since he doesn't have their light spirit, Ye Tian can't communicate with them. Ye Tian quickly asked Shao Jin to be their interpreter as Ye Tian handed its mom a healing medicine since it was pregnant. Ye Tian also gave Shao Jin's father medicine since he was also asking for one. While they were preoccupied with recuperating, the ape suddenly tried to escape. Ye Tian wasn't thinking of chasing it since his goal was to save Shao Jin's parents, but it seems like the couple, who have healed their injuries and fatigue, won't let the ape go that easily. The three of them then chased after the fleeing ape. In a matter of seconds, they caught up to the ape, and Ye Tian used his strength talent to attack the ape. After receiving Ye Tian's fist, the ape stumbled back a couple of steps. The panther couple then bit into the ape's thick skin. When the ape tried to retaliate, Ye Tian pinned it down again with a punch to the stomach. But the ape was kind of durable, it was still standing and was trying to fight back. But suddenly, Xiao Jin jumped from Ye Tian's shoulder and into the ape's injured eye. With Xiao Jin's apex tier speed talent, it penetrated its head and blasted it off like a melon. With this, the high tier, fierce beast was dead. Xiao Jin then went back to Ye Tian with a hop. Looking at this scene, Ye Tian can't help but smile, as he never imagined that he would be fighting alongside a beast one day. But while Ye Tian was lost in his thoughts, the female panther suddenly collapsed. Even though there was no visible injury, its internal organs must have been damaged due to the intense battle a while ago. It was fortunate that Ye Tian was always ready and had all types of healing medicine with him. He then fed the medicine to the injured panther, and not for long, the female panther recovered. However, right after the female panther recovered, a group of black wolf leopards arrived. Xiao Jin notified Ye Tian that these bunch were the one who lured the ape to their location, endangering their family. It seems like these black wolf leopards wanted to replace the couple as the kings of the forest, hence, they plotted a devious plan. But Ye Tian wasn't having it and attacked the leader of the pack with his speed talent. When the other black wolf leopards saw their leader die instantly, they cowered in fear in front of Ye Tian. He then lifted Xiao Jin, proclaiming him their king like a scene from The Lion King. When the morning came, Ye Tian was being led somewhere by the female panther to give him a gift for saving them. Moments later, they arrived in a cave somewhere in the forest. When Ye Tian entered, he saw a spirit herb that he wasn't knowledgeable of. He doesn't have the encyclopedia of treasures, so he has no clue about the spirit herb. But as of now, the herb isn't ripe yet, so Ye Tian has to wait for 30 days or a month for it to ripen. Ye Tian wasn't in a hurry right now. He already got what he wanted from the thousand-leaf forest, hence, he decided to wait a month. Weeks have passed, and the female panther is about to give birth to their second kitten. Not long after, a small kitten was born. From the looks of it, it was a boy. Hence, Xiao Jin now has a little brother. After that, a month had passed since Ye Tian arrived at the thousand-leaf forest. The herb has finally ripened. However, when Ye Tian ingested the herb, he suddenly vomited blood as he collapsed to the ground. He then lost consciousness. It was already evening when Ye Tian woke up. His head was still hurting, but it felt like he had mental and spiritual power. But that was impossible since one can only get mental spirit power once they reach the great martial warrior realm. But the feeling was evident. It would only mean that, even though he was currently an elite martial warrior, he unlocked a mental spirit power right after taking that mysterious herb. He then tested his skill. When he did so, he was shocked by the outcome. He can now check someone's status from a maximum distance of 50 meters. He can now also copy talents from a distance. There is no need for physical contact. With this, he gained more than what he came for in this forest. Finally, it was time to go home. Ye Tian bid farewell to the family of golden dragon panthers, but Xiao Jin wanted to go with Ye Tian. This doesn't bother Ye Tian that much, and he agreed to Xiao Jin's whim. Ye Tian was planning to introduce Xiao Jin to Yi Yu as a pet. This way, Yi Yu will take care of Xiao Jin in the future. Also, once Xiao Jin becomes strong enough, it can protect Yi Yu in return. With that, both of them left the forest and went straight to the seafront base. Xiao Jin saw the world for the first time, and he was happy to see other places outside the thousand-leaf forest. As the two of them traversed the wilderness, Ye Tian caught sight of something. He stopped to get a good look at it, and he discovered that the bodies lying around were from the 5th Academy. Among the bodies, Ye Tian saw a familiar figure. His friend, Zhang Bao. He quickly rushed over and checked Zhang Bao's vitals. Albeit struggling, Zhang Bao opened his eyes to the voice of Ye Tian. This greatly relieved Ye Tian, and he gave Zhang Bao one of his medicines for him to recover. When Zhang Bao recovered, Ye Tian asked him what happened. According to Zhang Bao, they were robbed by people from the Iron Fang base who transferred to their seafront base. This group began searing power in their base and causing a mess. As for the powerful families in the seafront base, they united under one leader, the Lin family's head, Lin Mingzi. But no matter how much they struggle, they cannot be compared to the powerful families of Iron Fang base. This information did not shock Ye Tian at all. He had predicted this would happen right before he annihilated the Mo family. The Iron Fang base was destroyed. What can they do but migrate towards seafront base? It was closer and easier to dominate. Somewhere in the seafront base, Galewolf was teaching Yi Yu how to use a sword by teaching her kendo. Though she has improved after a month of training, she is still too weak for Galewolf. After their training was over, they heard a clap coming from the front door. They looked over to see who had come for a visit, and they saw Ye Tian standing at the door, silently watching them train. Yi Yu quickly dashed toward him for a hug. Xiao Jin then popped his head to look at Yi Yu. The sight of a cute kitty caught Yi Yu's attention, and Ye Tian introduced Xiao Jin to her. Without further ado, Yi Yu took Xiao Jin away, leaving the dumbfounded Ye Tian behind. Galewolf then greeted Ye Tian for his safe return. They then went outside for a talk. Galewolf then talked about the invasion of the Iron Fang base. In line with this concern, Ye Tian asked Galewolf if anything happened while he was gone. Galewolf reassured him that this place has always been safe. Also, when Ye Tian left, a girl named Xiao Yu came by and gave them a token from the Martial Pavilion. With this, the Iron Fang base will not cause trouble for them. Ye Tian appreciated Yu Ling's goodwill. Though Xiao Yu was the one who delivered the token, Yu Ling was the one who ordered it to be delivered. Nevertheless, Ye Tian appreciated the goodwill of the both of them. Galewolf then added that while Ye Tian was in the wilderness, a person kept coming by to challenge Ye Tian to a deathmatch. It was Sun Feng. Ye Tian knew of the person. He specifically inspected her at the front of the convoy, so he couldn't be wrong. The man with high-tier cultivation and mid-tier sword talent. According to Galewolf, Sun Feng has been going around the seafront base challenging every elite warrior, and he hasn't lost since he started. Galewolf was warning Ye Tian of Sun Feng since he seemed to be pretty strong. But Ye Tian wasn't fazed at all. He has haunted powerful and fierce beasts for their talents. He wouldn't be afraid of a mere human at all. As they were conversing, a motorcycle was speeding down the road and stopped right beside Ye Tian. Riding it was Sun Feng, and he was looking for Ye Tian. Without beating around the bush, he quickly stated his reason for approaching him. He was challenging Ye Tian for a deathmatch. The time was tomorrow, the place was Minghui Plaza, and the wager was a bronze-rank blade skill. Ye Tian has already decided to accept the challenge since Galewolf told him about it. What he really wanted was only one thing. Since it had been a month since he used his skill, Ye Tian activated it and copied Sun Feng's high-tier cultivation talent. He also expressed his agreement for the duel as he was copying the talent, and with that, Sun Feng left on his motorcycle. When Sun Feng left, Galewolf told Ye Tian that his action was impulsive. Sun Feng's strength was something Ye Tian couldn't defeat. Or so he thought. At night, Ye Tian was inspecting his talent window. His cultivation has already reached a high level. He could already defeat Sun Feng easily with his specs, but he doesn't want to just defeat him. He wanted to overpower him. He then merged the two talents together. The merging quickly finished without suspense, and his cultivation reached apex tier. Now, he possesses 3 apex tier talents. With this, no one in the Great Warrior realm can defeat him. The next day, at the Minghui Plaza, Sun Feng has been waiting for some time now beside the Lin family's merit monument. A huge crowd was also gathered around the monument, waiting for the duel to begin. According to the words from the crowd, Sun Feng has been challenging every elite warrior he knew and will set the location of the duel on every merit monument of every family's in seafront base. After destroying a couple of monuments, this time around, it was Lin's monument's turn. Among the crowd waiting, Xiao Yu and Yu Ling were also present. While Xiao Yu was worried for Ye Tian, Yu Ling wasn't that worried since, as for her, even if Ye Tian can't defeat Sun Feng, he has the ability to survive. Also, Galewolf and Yi Yu were in the crowd. They were shocked to see the number of spectators in this duel. She tried to dissuade Ye Tian from participating, but Ye Tian reassured her that he would be fine. I mean, he was basically overqualified for this match, but anyway. With a leap, Ye Tian landed on the stage. He was dressed like someone going to a job interview rather than a duel. The man dripped out from head to toe. Seeing Ye Tian's arrival, Sun Feng announced his wager for this fight, a bronze-rank sword skill called Current Blade. In response, Ye Tian manifested a bronze-rank sword skill of his own, which was originally from Li Kun, the Shadow Sword. He threw it on the table, knocking over Sun Feng's neatly displayed skill book. Sun Feng took offense at this and immediately pulled out his sword. He then dashed toward Ye Tian with his blade. But, against an apex tier speed, what can even a normal elite warrior's speed do? Without even leaving his spot, Ye Tian shifted sideways, and Sun Feng's blade missed Ye Tian. This shocked Sun Feng. He then swung his blade over and over again, trying to catch Ye Tian, but Ye Tian was as slippery as an eel. This caused Sun Feng to feel frustrated as he shouted at Ye Tian to stop dodging and face him like a man. With this, Ye Tian threw a fist at him, hitting him in the chest. His ribs cracked as he was sent flying with a punch. The spectating crowd was shocked at this scene. How could Sun Feng be sent flying with just one punch? They watched as Sun Feng bullied other elite warriors. He was definitely one of the 4 prodigies in Iron Fang base. But the same prodigy was now crawling to the ground after just one punch. Sun Feng was also caught off guard by Ye Tian's display of power. He did not know that Ye Tian had some moves. He decided to stop holding back and activate his own sword skill. Wind Slash. With a swing from Sun Feng, 6 wind blades came flying towards Ye Tian. However, Ye Tian dodged the sword skill with ease using his speed talent. Though the Lin family's merit monument did not survive and was cut by the wind blades, this sight greatly angered Lin Mingzi, who was spectating the duel. Back on stage, Ye Tian commended Sun Feng for the amazing display of sword skill. Meanwhile, Sun Feng was in disbelief as he looked at the unharmed Ye Tian. Ye Tian was thanking Sun Feng for the display, and for him, it was worth it to drag the fight this long. This statement clicked in Sun Feng's brain. It seems like Ye Tian purposely dragged the fight just to see what the skill looked like. In addition, Ye Tian told him that if it wasn't for that, why would he drag the fight out? Sun Feng was never his match, and he never will be. Ye Tian belittled Sun Feng with a smug face. Sun Feng became annoyed with Ye Tian's words, and he attacked Ye Tian once more. But, with his strength and talent, Ye Tian broke Sun Feng's sword. He then grabbed Sun Feng by the head, and using his favorite move, he smashed Sun Feng on the floor, causing cracks to appear in the concrete floor. Sun Feng passed out on the spot, and with this, the duel was officially over. The spectating crowd was marveling at Ye Tian's strength. That includes Xiao Yu. Meanwhile, Yu Ling was being the possessive lady that she is, thinking that Ye Tian belongs to the martial pavilion. As the stage was thrashed, the table where they put their wager was turned upside down by their duel. He then picked up the skill book that was on the ground while thanking Sun Feng for the free skill book. Yi Yu and Galewolf joined him on stage. They then went ahead and left the plaza as Ling Mingzi watched them depart. Though Ye Tian won the duel, giving pride to their base, the merit monument of the Lins has fallen. Ling Mingzi can't bring himself to celebrate that fact. Also, though Ye Tian won the duel, the Sun family will not sit this one out and will definitely retaliate. With this, Ling Mingzi ordered his trusted aide to guard Ye Tian's sister for a while. This action greatly shocked me as well. But the power families of Seafront Base were no match for the Iron Fang Base. The least they could do was protect their prospective talents, and they would eventually regain their pride in Seafront Base. Back at Galewolf's home, Ye Tian was inspecting the skill book he got from Sun Feng. To his surprise, Wind Slash increases attacks by 6-fold. Obtaining this skill was like giving wings to a tiger. He then checked his status window. There he saw his current talent and a notice about the cooldown of his Copycat skill. He was thinking of copying Sun Feng's mid-tier sword talent and merging it with his own mid-tier sword talent to turn it into a high-tier sword talent. However, this plan of his has to wait for a month since he just copied Sun Feng's high-tier cultivation talent just yesterday. If he does so, he will gain power on par with a Grandmaster Warrior. If he ever reaches the Great Warrior realm, then he will have the power to defeat a Grandmaster easily. Meanwhile, in Galewolf's backyard, Yi Yu was training his sword skills under Galewolf's supervision. While she was training, Galewolf was lost in his thoughts. Although the duel has ended, the Sun family will not let this humiliation slide. He was worried about what would happen to Yi Yu when that happened. Even a stupid person would know that Ye Tian will do everything to save his little sister, so their target will definitely be Yi Yu. This thought kept circling around Galewolf's head while Yi Yu finished his training. She then called out to Galewolf, since he was just standing there staring at her. This snapped him back to reality, and he called out to Ye Yu. Once Ye Yu arrived in front of Galewolf, he gave him the token of the martial pavilion that he had made into a necklace. This thing will definitely shield Ye Yu from future troubles. While the two of them were talking, the lady from Galewolf's team came rushing towards them. It seems like Galewolf sent her to gather information about the Sun family's movements.
According to her, the Sun family was looking around at shops so they could set up a business. This information greatly relieved Galewolf. It seems like the Sun family won't be taking action anytime soon. They still have time to prepare. Galewolf thought that they were the ones around the area, but unknown to them, someone was secretly listening to their discussions. A month has passed, and Ye Tian's skill is finally off cooldown. He was walking down the street when he looked at an old man nearby.
The old man felt Ye Tian's gaze, and this greatly shocked him. Ye Tian wasn't just looking at him, he was using his skill to check on the old man's status. But the old man felt mental power from Ye Tian. This was impossible since only great warriors have mental ability. This only means that Ye Tian has reached the great warrior realm. Though that was not the case. Meanwhile, Ye Tian, who saw the status of the old man, found out his identity. But he still went on his way toward the martial marketplace. The Sun family has recently built their own business there. His goal for today was to look for Sun Feng. According to his information from Galewolf, sword talent was the Sun family's pride. And to keep this pride pure, they went as far as inbreeding and intermarrying. This will cause defects in the newborn child, and any child with defects will be secretly dealt with. Such a horrible family. Alabama all the way. Not for long, Ye Tian arrived at the Sun family's shop. Outside, there stood Sun Feng, ushering guests and customers inside their shop. While Sun Feng was greeting guests, Ye Tian stood not far away from him. He used his skill to check on Sun Feng's talent. He then copied Sun Feng's sword talent wirelessly. And right there and then, he merged it with his current talent, which turned his mid-tier sword talent into a high-tier talent. After copying and merging his new talent, Ye Tian left the marketplace and headed to the South Hill Cemetery with a bouquet of flowers in hand. He then laid the bouquet in front of a tombstone and squatted right across it. It was his parents' tombstone. He was talking about how he wanted to see them before he took Ye Yu out of Seafront Base. He can only bring Ye Yu, not their remains. Hence, he wanted to visit them before they left. While Ye Tian was having his alone time with his parents' grave, a man suddenly appeared a few meters behind him. Ye Tian felt a killing intent and quickly turned around with his primordial sword to block the attack. The man congratulated Ye Tian for defeating Sun Feng. This word alone gave Ye Tian the idea that this man was from the Sun family. The man then tried to catch Ye Tian off guard as he slashed with his other knife. Ye Tian acted quickly and dodged with his speed talent. The man then proceeded to talk, saying that he was thinking of killing him after the duel, but that would spark suspicion about the pride of the Sun family, hence he waited for some time. Ye Tian wasn't having it and pounced on the man. They then engaged in a heated battle as their speed soared as the fight went on. However, Ye Tian saw the bouquet left for his parents getting thrashed with their fight, hence, he quickly stopped and checked the flowers. The man misunderstood it and proceeded to babble nonsensically again. He introduced himself as Sun Feng's master, Chi Meng. And he was here for revenge since he treated Sun Feng as his own son and Ye Tian injured him during the duel. He kept talking trash to Ye Tian while Ye Tian was putting the bouquet in place again. But Chi Meng said something unnecessary. Something that greatly angered Ye Tian. Chi Meng told Ye Tian that he knew he had a little sister, and she would join him after he killed him right here. You never talk trash about someone's little sister in front of a cis-con brother. Ye Tian did not hold back and activated his apex tier speed talent. This speed was beyond Chi Meng's capability, as he failed to react in time and received a kick to his abdomen, sending him flying. But Ye Tian wasn't done yet, and he caught Chi Meng in midair and threw him outside the cemetery and into the woods. Chi Meng wasn't able to fend for himself and crashed among the trees. While Chi Meng became groggy from what happened, Ye Tian arrived at the crash site. Chi Meng saw Ye Tian's figure and was shocked that Ye Tian was a grandmaster. That was half wrong. Ye Tian was still an elite martial warrior, maybe at the peak of his realm. But his combat power was comparable to that of a grandmaster. But Chi Meng realized it too late, and the last thing he saw was the menacing face of Ye Tian. After dealing with Chi Meng, Ye Tian checked for valuables in Chi Meng's body. He found a skill book called Twilight Blade, and he also took Chi Meng's weapon since he only had one primordial sword. After that, he left Chi Meng's corpse there to rot and quickly headed home. Along the way, Ye Tian met the same old man as he did this morning. Ye Tian halted his steps and invited the old man to go with him into Galewolf's house. The old man did not try to lie since he already guessed that Ye Tian found out his identity this morning. He agreed to Ye Tian's invitation, and the two made their way towards Galewolf's house. Upon arriving, Ye Tian told Yi Yu to prepare some tea for their guest. Galewolf was curious about this guest, so he asked Ye Tian his identity. Ye Tian then introduced the old man as Lin Zi of the Lin family. Yes, this old man was the trusted aide of Lin Mingzi. But this name has a different impact for Galewolf. He knew of that name, the Elder Zi of the legends. It seems like Lin Zi gained an outstanding achievement before he was referred to as the Elder Zi in the legends. This reaction from Galewolf pleased Lin Zi. This caused Galewolf to treat the old man much better. Meanwhile, Lin Zi doesn't believe that Ye Tian invited him inside out of pure generosity. So he asked Ye Tian what that something was that he wanted to talk about. Ye Tian knew his identity before the young man even invited him inside for tea. There must be something that Ye Tian wants from the old man. Ye Tian did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Grabbing Yi Yu by the shoulder, he asked Lin Zi if he could trouble him into handing Yi Yu to Yu Ling at the Martial Pavilion. Hearing Ye Tian's request, Lin Zi was quite shocked to know that he has connections from the Martial Pavilion. When Lin Zi looked closely, he noticed a necklace that he suspected was a token from the Martial Pavilion. With this, the old man agreed to Ye Tian's request without any question. With Yi Yu's matter over, Ye Tian did not forget the goodwill of Galewolf. He then grabbed Galewolf and introduced him to Lin Zi. He offered to Lin Zi that Galewolf enter the Lin family. This action by Ye Tian greatly shocked Galewolf. It was quite a demand, but the old man Lin Zi did not even think about it and agreed to Ye Tian's second request. Hearing the old man's agreement, Ye Tian pushed Galewolf to go greet his new master. Galewolf did so as he kowtowed in front of Lin Zi. With this, Galewolf will be part of the Lin family. Though the one who was delighted with this was Lin Zi, Ye Tian has the prospect of becoming a Grand Master in the future. For the Lin family to curry favor with him was his biggest accomplishment. Yi Yu, who was silent from the start, interrogated Ye Tian for his actions. For him to hand her over the Martial Pavilion himself, he can't shake the feeling that Ye Tian was going to do something dangerous. Ye Tian tried to reassure her, but this only made Yi Yu even more suspicious. They were talking back and forth, but eventually, Yi Yu gave up as she could not persuade Ye Tian. With a smile, he reminded Ye Tian to be careful. And so, the arrangement for Yi Yu and Galewolf was done. On the same evening, Ye Tian visited the Sun family's headquarters. When the guards saw him approaching, they warned him for trespassing. But Ye Tian blasted them with his aura alone. The guard was confused what was he doing in the Sun family's headquarters in the dead of the night and causing a ruckus. Ye Tian did not bother to explain. He said that he was just cleaning trash. Inside the building, someone was running across the hallway, visibly panicked. He slammed open a door to a room and reported that someone had broken into their company and injured their men. Inside that room, a man in a red suit was slouching in a chair while holding a bottle of liquor. After hearing the man's report, he flashed a playful grin as he thought that the seafront base people were a bunch of cowards. To think that someone finally came.
Thank you for watching. Like if you want to see another part of this series. Subscribe for more videos like this. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a nice day.